You're certainly watching K24. It's midday. It's time for us to talk matters business. And this is Business Watch. My name is Richard Kagoy. Well, as promised on Tuesday, we continue with a discussion with various representatives from the Inorero University. Well, I just like referring to it as the Enterprise University. Now, joining me in the studio to discuss some of the exciting things that are happening in the institute is the Vice Chancellor, Professor Henry Thairu. Professor, nice to see you.
Nice seeing you also, Mr. Kagoy.
Thank you very much, and welcome to K24.
Thank you.
Quite an opportunity for us. We had the chance to speak to Modoni Gadesha on Tuesday, and very, very, very elaborately she spoke about what the Institute is doing. But I think the first place maybe we could start off, Professor, is to really help us understand what opportunities that are currently existing for Kenyans, and particularly I'm talking about very youthful Kenyans, because if you notice one thing, Professor, nowadays around 4:35, 6 on Saturdays, and even some point on Sundays, Kenyans, their quest for knowledge, their thirst for knowledge. What opportunities lie or are provided for at Inorero, and how different is this?
As already discussed on Tuesday, and we'll expand a little bit on that, is the issue as an enterprise university is the positioning also of ourselves as to what value we are giving to the students who come to our university, and also relating it to the field of work, because universities do not exist in a vacuum. They must be related to what is happening in the country. For the 2030 vision, they must be related to the aspirations of those who are coming to the university as students, as because they have a perception of the future they would like to have. And so, as a university, these are very, very clear to us that we do not spend students' time, which is absolutely valuable, and the investment by their parents, and not give them value. Value, we see it in two ways. First of all, is first of all give them, for us as an enterprise university, we give them an entrepreneurial mindset. And mindset is not created just in the classroom that you attend 1 or 2 courses in entrepreneurship. It is a change in thinking. That's why it starts. First of all, entrepreneurial thinking says that there's no problem that one cannot solve. And therefore, in terms of our programs, the way we have now adopted as an approach is what one calls problem-based learning. Education is actually about being able to cope with the environment that you are in. And part of that process is to be able to solve problems. Many times in the education that we have gone through, it has been so much exam-oriented that we forget as to why we went to universities, not to do exams, but it's actually to be given both the skills, the knowledge, and the capacity to think for ourselves, to know how to solve our own individual problems, but also to solve the problems which are there in society. And I would say that is the entrepreneurial mindset that every student that comes to Inorero University must be done. Therefore, is creating a culture, is creating an ecosystem, because it must not only happen for a few students, it must happen for all students. Because it doesn't matter whether you are low down or you came with lower grades and so on, you are not a second-class citizen.
So no discrimination at all.
So there should be really no discrimination. And that some of the people we say that they are doing badly in education is basically because of the experiences they have had before. Were not lined up with the way they think. So this is what we are trying to do, and therefore, in a way, making a path which is different, and looking at also of issues of innovation, because of course innovation is not always, it means that you must look for new and better ways even of educating the young people, and also seeing the challenges of unemployment within the country. And there's no university, therefore, that can take students and think that outside there's somebody whose work is to prepare jobs for them. You know, that does not exist.
It doesn't exist at all.
And actually, although we say that the government has the responsibility of employing people, there's really no social contract like that.
No engagement at all.
No. The work of government is basically to create an environment for the citizens to find their place. And therefore, this must underlie the type of education that we give the young people.
That's the philosophy.
That is really the underlying philosophy. That as when you come as a student and you are going to leave, you should be responsible for your own life, not even your parents. Because that's why you came to university. And the university should be able to help you to be in charge of your own life, to be able to also help others to be able to get there. That's what the entrepreneurial thinking. And therefore, what we've tried is to mainstream this in all our courses, and in terms of what we now call the problem-based learning. But then also to see what is happening in the industry and where Kenya is going, because Kenya is changing very, very, very fast. And even the jobs which are going to be there tomorrow, we actually do not know about them.
Yes.
So we must also prepare students for jobs they have never imagined.
Jobs of the future.
The jobs for the future. And that's why they need to have a completely different thinking, because those jobs of the future, even today, are not known. For example, if you think of Safaricom, this Safaricom 10 years ago wasn't there.
Non-existent at all.
Non-existent.
Yes.
But you can see how it has changed the whole perspective of this country. Nobody would have ever imagined that almost every Kenyan would have a mobile phone, and where they can access, that they can send money, they can receive money, you can get money from your bank.
You couldn't comprehend this.
Yes. So that way, even in an institution, ever planned that they would need to have prepared students for such.
Yes.
Therefore, one must, in entrepreneurial mindset, imagine even those type of jobs that will be there in the future, and prepare really the students for that which future that is unknown. In that sense, what really makes them is to be able to fit in any ecosystem they find themselves in terms of way of thinking. And therefore, and that's what one calls systems thinking, rather than by parochial thinking that things are always going to remain the same. Actually, the only thing that is permanent is change.
Change. It's the only thing that's consistent.
Yes. So we must prepare students for a very changing world. You can see the way the world is changing in terms of economics. The countries we thought we would copy are not exactly the ones now we should copy.
Exactly. It's so interesting to see Angola bailing out its former colonial master, Portugal.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
What that means, the world is shifting. And when what we call the shift happens, what it can happen is that people get lost in between. Or if they are entrepreneurial, they find new opportunities.
They can take advantage.
Absolutely.
Okay.
They can, and this is the kind of the mindset that we need to constantly create in our students, because they will be the innovators, they'll be the people looking for solutions.
They'll be the employers.
And they will be actually the employers, and they will be making the jobs. Because nobody, as we said, has the responsibility of making jobs for anybody. Therefore, that capacity must be built within the university. So we are addressing in the two ways, the problem-based learning, but the other one is by practical entrepreneurship training, which is not focused that you must pass exams. In giving people skills and knowledge on this, it is that every student knows how to engage a bank to get a loan. They must know how to write a business plan. They must know how to negotiate for whatever goods.
Oh, to negotiate, yeah?
Sure.
Absolutely.
To absolutely know how to negotiate. The very soft skills which nobody thinks that you ever need. How to register your business. How many shares they should have.
Wow.
And those are really practical things that every student should know.
So whether I'm taking up a course in ICT, whether I'm taking up a course in law or general commercial courses, these are additional benefits.
That is a must for every student who grows up, because they are the ones who are going to cause the jobs that are going to be there for the future.
Yes.
So they must be prepared for this. But because of our school system doesn't think that way, we have to do a lot of uneducating before we start.
Oh, so a lot of unlearning has to be done.
Absolutely. And a lot of unlearning, because that's not the way the people think. They think there's somebody who has the responsibility for sorting out your problems. And that's why they say if something happens, they say, what is happening? The government is responsible, my parents are responsible, this is somebody. It's always taken to a third party. Nobody thinks that I should say, what can I do about it?
So nobody looks within
Absolutely.
for solutions.
Yes.
Okay.
And that's what the challenge must be brought to our students, so that they know that they actually must create the jobs, first of all, do that. So if you look into our university mission, it just says that our work is to produce human capital and entrepreneurs. That's what we must make sure that students come with that capacity. We are not saying that every student will actually be an entrepreneur.
Not necessarily. But
Not necessarily. But even if they don't become an entrepreneur, wherever they go, they will, in a company they join, they are supposed to provide solutions. And they should be able to have the ability to, for example, to also work in teams, because you don't work individually. So the focus in finding solutions as a team also must be learned in the classroom at the university.
Wow.
And then aligning our curriculum with what the industry needs. If it could be ICT, it may be in business, and also thinking globally, because a lot of our students are not just going to work here. They are going to work in other countries.
It's even a global village now.
It's a global, but the global village and globalization must be translated in the classroom to the realities of what that means in working, and how do you fit even in a different culture.
Actually, because one of the challenges we normally face is really fitting in a multicultural environment, yeah?
Absolutely. And even doing business in a multicultural environment, which we are not prepared for. It's basically sometimes it's not even the economics that affects a business setting in any country. It is not taking care of those cultural issues. And one can say that one has seen some of the difficulties of South African companies.
Oh, yes.
Fitting into Kenya.
Even French companies.
Even French companies,
Yes.
And one could say, it's because of cultural issues. The mindset don't fit, and therefore it has nothing really to do with money. So those issues, our students, because they are must know how they are going to be able to fit in a cultural setting and be prepared, therefore, for life. So those issues, therefore, we must build them into the courses. But then the other aspect is that we are because we are a small university, we must depend on differentiation. We have already mentioned the issue of also that a university also helps a country in looking at the problems facing. Of course, we can't sort out every problem. So with the problems either in law or in business or information and communication technology, seeing then how our courses are preparing our students to be lined up with, like for Konza.
Certainly.
Konza City is coming here.
Yeah.
There will be very high skills required in ICT.
Yeah.
And one has seen, for example, that IBM has established this week
A regional office.
Not only a regional office, but a big research lab, the first one of its type in Africa. It is now stationed at Catholic University, which is a very commendable issue. But it is a research lab. It means that Kenyans have a very exciting future, and we are going to see more and more companies. But they will not come here unless the requisite skills, and they're able to support that, very actually produced here. So not just the ordinary ICT. I think Kenya has now enough of that, which you may call the ordinary and so on. Now higher skills are required, which now companies like IBM, Microsoft, Oracle, if they were to station here, there must be enough skills for them to be able to use.
Oh, even just talking about what's happening really within our region, East Africa, with all this discovery of oil, discovery of natural gas, we're talking about coal in the Moi Basin, prospects of gold in Tanzania. Yeah. So we need people with this particular skill set. Even in Kenya.
Saw that there was a license given for gold exploration in Western Kenya.
Yes. So people with these skill sets, positioning them for this so that we reduce our reliance on expatriates to a certain degree.
Yeah, we will always, of course, have a mixture in terms of that. But Kenyans must prepare themselves for the foreseeable future, as you have said, with petroleum, with gold, and so on. And within the shifting, actually focus is on Africa. It's the last frontier.
That's what they call it.
There's no other frontier to think about, because Asia has already moved. And it's actually would be a major focus in terms of that. One can see what is happening in Brazil, a country one never thought about
at all,
even a few years ago.
Yes.
But now it's one of the biggest economies of the world.
India.
So, absolutely, India. Of course, China will be the power to think about.
Actually, focus is on the global south, yeah?
Absolutely. So, as we train students, we must be aware of those shiftings in the world economy. So that is what, as a small university, we must focus on, and we are focusing on in terms of differentiation. And the students have started picking up this, and also the staff, because it's not a change only in the students. Must be a change in the administration, must be a change in our staff. It takes time, but we can see that it's starting to happen. And when it starts to happen, life becomes exciting.
So organizational culture change.
Yes, because that is, if that doesn't change, then everybody will pulling each other down.
Okay.
Because you must have a good team that is moving ahead and is also visionary, and that the vision is not carried only at the top. It's carried throughout by every person in every department, and the students think the same way, and so on. And so for me, it has been an exciting journey to see that now that vision be carried by students, and them being able to write to me, because
so there's a lot of correspondence?
Absolutely. I discuss with my students
Open door policy?
On Facebook, on Twitter, on our blog.
Okay.
And they can raise any question with me and so on. Flat organization.
So VC, you're that accessible for your students?
Wow. They have my mobile phone.
Wow.
Yes, because I'm their vice chancellor. So why should they not talk to me anytime they want?
Okay.
And therefore, because if my friends can call me, the first friends should be my students. So we talk. Like in the morning, somebody says, Otieno Nix asks me, how are you, Prof? I say, yes, I'm on, I'm in the office. Anything I can do for you?
So they can. That really makes a difference in the way that learning, just entirely the whole experience for learning at Inorero.
Yes, because I think this is absolute true. We must break the hierarchical way of dealing with things, because hierarchy destroys innovation. But if you have a flat organization where people can talk, students can talk with staff, staff can talk with each other, and so on, and these barriers are broken, then, and of course, we ourselves are a business.
Yes.
So it's the bottom line, we must make ends meet.
Yes. I mean, you have obligations.
We have obligations to the people who invest in the institution. So it's therefore very, very critical.
How's this been reflected in terms of productivity at staff level and even at students?
Very, very positively. Over the last 3 years, I think we've been trying to change the ecosystem, because it doesn't happen. I mean, this is a process of change. It is a process. It's not an event. And I think one can say that the spirit has caught on. And I think it will be exciting years to see how that translates into actual action. And therefore, we have just actually, as a result of all what's happening, created a new center at the university. In addition to the center that the Regional Center for Enterprise Development.
Yes.
We have also created another center for research, teaching and learning, to now focus on how do you translate what I'm saying into the actual classrooms, so that the issue of innovation, you change even the formats of the classroom. Just
share with us a bit about the format in the classrooms, because out of interest.
In terms of this, the way the classrooms have been arranged before is that the teacher sits at the front, and the students are here.
Yeah.
Now you have to change that in terms of even the way you arrange your desk, because now the teacher is not the expert, he's the facilitator. The students must think about everything that they are going through. For example, if you are marketing, and I'm just taking a course in marketing, why don't you say to them to the Maasai village and ask them to ask those people how they market their products, and then bring that to the classroom and ask them, what things did you learn? What things could they have done better? How would you have helped them? Are your case, instead of theories about marketing?
So it's very practical.
Absolutely. Practical approach, because remember that we are a different country. Our issues are not the issues, especially from the West or from the East, because of our cultural setting. If we do not tackle our problems by looking completely at our own problems and see what solutions that we can have and work them together with our solutions. So what we are calling our classrooms now are teaching labs.
Teaching labs. That's
teaching
what you
labs,
refer to them.
Yes.
Okay.
They are no longer just for lectures. They are teaching labs, which means is a conversation that is going on. The teacher is a facilitator to help people in thinking, in finding solutions, and so on. Of course, we still, must teach the basic knowledge, the basic skills, but the way of thinking.
Must be a very exciting experience being in class, eh?
Yes,
it must be. It should be.
Yes. And so this is what we must increasingly be involved in. The other one is the aspect of technology.
Okay.
Our vision is to be a technology, market-driven, innovative, world-class university. And every word in that is absolutely important. Therefore, the issue of technology is that we must make sure that our students are exposed to the modern technologies digital technologies in terms of bringing that to the classroom, because we have seen the revolution that has taken place even in this country. 10 years ago, the mobile phone was not really known, but now it's there in every place.
Yes.
And the mobiles even the students have are more powerful than the computer that sent man to the moon.
Yes.
So
without doubt,
we must take that in cognizance in terms of how students learn, and therefore even bring mobile telephony into the students being able to access their notes. They should be able to access through that. So we have created, as a university, a whole new virtual campus, electronic virtual campus, so that the students don't have to spend time in the classroom writing their notes. They are found on our virtual campus, which is available to any student who is inside, but also for our distance and electronic learning students.
Yeah, yes.
They are able to access.
You can tell us a bit about that.
The same. Yes, in the last 3 years, we have developed what we call a virtual campus. And a virtual campus means that it's a platform to enable students to access learning, teaching and learning through an electronic platform, and where all then the content of our courses is digitized and put
totally,
on that form. And totally. And both for our internal students and for our external students who study online. And we have very many students. Now we have about 400 students studying online. And they come, surprisingly, both local and foreign. So, and you see, this is actually the future of learning.
So
because a lot of people,
yourselves.
we're positioning ourselves because a lot of people who are especially working will not be allowed to get out of the places where they are working. Yet they can study, sometimes when they are at work, sometimes when they are at home, and at the speed at which they want. Unlike the people who are inside the university, who must fit that they must do so many courses per week, so many hours they must fulfill. Those who are working there, they can tell us, I am only able this semester to register for this one course. And therefore, some will finish their degree in 3 years, others 4 years, others 6 years.
So it's been tailor-made to fit people's lifestyles, right?
Education should be flexible enough to be available to the people the way they want it, not the way we want. That flexibility becomes very, very, very important. And therefore, that's why we produced that virtual campus. And therefore, it's already working. We're still improving on it. The other one is that in terms of now looking at the external world, through our Regional Center for Enterprise Development, that's where we then developed the business mentoring program. And here was focusing on the micro, medium, as small and medium enterprises in this country, because, first of all, they contribute 20% to the GDP of this country.
Very significant.
Significant. And also, in terms of job creation, they actually create the 70% of the 500 jobs that are created every year. So this is a very important sector for this country. So as a university, as we are thinking about being an enterprise university, we thought we should also focus on how that sector can actually be developed. We were greatly involved in helping in shaping the MSME bill, which is now in Parliament. The other one is when we did our research and looked at the way the micro and medium enterprises business is going on, found that, and it's very well known, that a lot of businesses that start by the time they hit the third year.
Yeah, that particular cycle?
Yes, 80% of them have not. And we thought that this really should be looked at. And when we studied this, we found is that finally, it's because these businesses lack mentoring. So we produced a very practical, no, it's not about exams. It's about how do you help a burgeoning entrepreneur there who have their own business to be able to grow that business. so that then it can increase the people it employs, it can increase in terms of its revenue, and so on. And that's how we came up with the business mentoring program at the university, and that has done very well. We actually never advertise it.
At all, because actually I've interviewed a beneficiary, a gentleman who's based in Shaurimo. He deals with scrap metal.
Yeah.
And I met this gentleman, and I was asking him, really, how has this really benefited him, the way he does his business? And you'll be so shocked about, his turnover, how he's been able to reorganize the business, his own personal experience, managing his books and all that.
Yeah.
So really, I think I can attest to that, just based from my engagement.
Yeah, and there are several others in various sectors who have helped it. So this one is really training business mentors. And where they are being trained, actually in the classroom, they come with a mentee company into the classroom.
Okay.
So that as they learn, they practice. What you have learned this week, and of course it only runs 4 days in a month because entrepreneurs don't have enough time
they're busy
to get out of their their work. So it's a great program of the business mentors, and we have seen it making big impact in terms of this. So we are at present discussing with various actors in this country, including even the Youth Enterprise Fund and so on, how we could escalate this now to the youth of this country. Because, as I said, universities are there to provide solutions, not only for themselves, but for the country, and in terms of that thinking. And what also a good point that came out of this is that those business mentors who graduated from this postgraduate program in business mentoring.
No, the mentors, eh?
Yeah, the mentors. They have already formed their own association, the first business mentors association in this country.
Wow.
So we can say, at least as a university, we have contributed to a major association that will impact this country in terms of business mentoring for many years to come. And I think it will be a very exciting future to see how that then will turn, because it can be escalated to every country in terms of the businesses that will be affected.
So it's a first of its kind, actually.
It is.
So how many graduates have benefited from this particular program since inception?
We have now run 2 cohorts. Now we have around 64 students now,
yeah.
And we have another 31 in class.
31, yeah?
Yeah, yes. So by that time, we'll do that. We like it being small because it's practical. And remember, they have a mentee company, each one of them. So if it's too big,
it's very personalized.
Yeah, it's absolutely personalized. But each of those companies, each of those mentors is supposed in the next 1 year to mentor 5 companies. So one can see the multiplier effect that this is really going to be. So this is a program that we like to actually improve on in terms of doing that, because we feel that it's actually going to make a difference in the market. But in addition to that, then those in our practical entrepreneurship training, exactly what those business mentors are doing for the outside micro, small, and medium enterprises, we want them to do the same for our students who are undergraduate students, so they can actually register their businesses when they are still as university students. And they will be helped by the same business mentors to grow their business so that it's actually real and practical. That's what practical entrepreneurship means. It is tested, first of all, by not saying how many students have gone to the classroom, but how many students have actually registered their businesses. How many of those have also produced some innovations that can be commercialized and be put into the market. Those are really the new benchmarks. And therefore, in terms of also educational orientation, It used to be the policy that it should be publish or perish as a university lecturer.
Okay.
But now the paradigm is changing. It is innovate or perish.
And that's what actually you're doing. You're pioneering that. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, Professor, we've just run out of time. We need to get ready ourselves for the news.
Yeah.
But a great differentiator there you've talked about, and really that sets you apart from any other institution, and for the fact that you've had the guts of pioneering grounds that people have never thought about scouting. And that's quite exceptional.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor. Nice talking to you.
And you too.
Yeah, and hope we get another engagement.
Sure.
Similarly, to talk more about what you're doing.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for coming in and just sharing with us some of these exciting things happening at Inorero University.
Absolutely.
We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Well, we've just been talking to Prof. That's what I've realized is referred to by most of the students at IU, Inorero University, the Enterprise University. He's shared with us how they do it differently. I mean, the kind of experience that you get there, it's exceptionally different, something that I don't think you'll find in any institution in this particular continent, and how they're really positioning themselves for the future, preparing you to prepare jobs for the future. Well, that's just been this particular segment on Business Watch this Friday. We've just been focusing on Inorero University. We did the same on Tuesday with Modoni Gavesha, and she just shared with us as well, just taking a look at student welfare as well. And thank you very much for having stayed with us throughout this week. My name is Richard Kagoe. We'll be having Resian Lebai coming in with K24 News at 1 to acquaint you with stories making headlines politically, general news, as well as business and the sport. You're watching K24. Stay on the channel.